because private practice isn't about being busy 24/7.
This is it. This is what I've been talking about. This is what it means to be a therapist. It does not mean to grind constantly every single day. Dear therapist, you have earned the right to chill the fuck out. I got two things for you, but first I want to emphasize that you've been in school forever. Forever. And school trains you to be a workaholic. It trains you to always think about deadlines and grades and efficiency and do, constantly lists, discussion boards, things. Congratulations, congratulations for surviving that roller coaster. You're done with it now. That's over. Leave it behind. Do whatever reflections you have to do to realize that you're no longer in that rat race. And now, if you've entered private practice, it's time to shift your mindset to you are now an entrepreneur, a clinical entrepreneur, a business owner. Very different than what you've been trained to do. The first thing is take some kind of entrepreneurship certificate course. I'm not saying you have to go to school and get an MBA, but just take some kind of course where you can learn the ins and outs of starting a business, not just the clinical part. And in doing that kind of process, you'll recognize that you can't just fill your schedule of clients. That's not becoming a business owner. That's becoming an employee for your own LLC. You need to make time for your creativity, your content creation, writing a book, whatever you want to do. You need to have some kind of creative outlet for your business and for yourself. You need to be able to do marketing. You be able to do workshops. There's so many things that business owners can do. You got to worry about the billing and the admin stuff. And if you just kind of like only focus on the scheduling of your clients and you're not intentional about scheduling time for your business, yes, you're going to burn out for sure. And I will give graduate programs this. They do tend to emphasize self care, right? Walk the walk, practice what you preach. However, it tends to end there where it's like, hey, figure out that for yourselves and what that means. Just prioritize self care. And that's like the end of the discussion, at least in my experience. It hasn't been that in depth until I was in my PhD program. But you owe it to yourselves and your clients to be really thinking about what self care means for you and how you can prioritize rest and doing things that you enjoy doing, things that spark your motivation, not just work. I see a lot of therapists on here that are doing like 25, 30 clients a week, every single week, week after week for 48 weeks. That sounds exhausting. That's too much. And I believe a core issue is that in our graduate programs, we only talk about the clinical piece. We don't talk about business ownership. We don't talk about crowdfunding. We don't talk about finances in general. So we think about like how can we make the most money within this amount of time? And maybe we think about raising our prices over a period of time, but we're not that intentional about it really because we don't have a business background. And with that said, it's up to us to close the gaps. We can complain all day like, oh, graduate school didn't teach me this, graduate school didn't teach me that. But what are we going to do? We're going to have to educate ourselves like we know how to do, which graduate school did teach us how to do. We learned how to learned how to think. So we're going to have to address those issues. And I know it sounds like a lot, but if you surround yourself with good people, so build that community, you find these creative outlets, and you rely on relationships, you immerse yourself in good relationships, it can be a lot of fun.